Hi, my name is Phil Walls. I'm Chief Clinical Officer for myMatrixx. Thank you for joining us in week 2 of our series on off-label drug use. Now, most important takeaway from today is that off-label drug use in and of itself is neither inherently good nor bad. It all depends on how the physician is using it, how he or she is prescribing it. From a patient advocacy standpoint, it really depends on, well, what do the guidelines say? What evidence is there to support a physician's decision to use a drug off-label? I also want to compare and contrast off-label drug use to experimental or investigational drug use. Now, as you're all aware, in workers' compensation, we do not have to pay for experimental use of a drug. But how does that differ from off-label? Well, it's really quite simple. If a drug has been approved by the FDA, but a physician is using it for something that has not been approved, in other words, an unapproved indication, that's considered off-label. Whereas experimental or investigational drug use is a drug that has never been approved for any reason by the FDA. So quite simply, that's the difference between these two. Now, when it comes to off-label use being neither good nor bad, let's do some examples. So the best bad example I can think of is years ago when Actique, or the fentanyl lollipop, was being used in workers' compensation for relatively minor conditions, low back pain, things of this nature. A highly addictive drug that was intended only for end-of-life cancer pain. So horrible off-label use of a drug. The best good example I can think of is the use of gabapentin for neuropathic pain. Gabapentin has been recognized for years as a first-line agent in the treatment of neuropathic pain. And yet, due to a technicality that's more financial than clinical, its use in that condition will forever be considered off-label. Now, next week, we're going to pick up with our third part in the series, in which we're going to look at a policy being considered by the FDA. Now, we have a narrow window of opportunity for the public to comment to the FDA on this, and I'm going to encourage all of you to take advantage of this opportunity, because this is probably our one best chance to be patient advocates, because I can guarantee you Big Pharma is going to push for permission from the FDA to market drugs for unapproved uses. Thank you very much. I hope to see you next week.